Okay, you filthy animals. We're doing one more video on the Fallout show, and then it's back to our usual slot. And for Christ's sake, click some stupid buttons if you enjoy this channel. God knows we need it. Okay, now I know you all got a lot of praise to give to Walton Goggins' ghoul character.
Well, yeah, Barry, 'cause he rocks.
And I know we all enjoy Aaron Moten's Maximus and Ella Purnell and their big, freaky anime eyes.
What about the kid from The Good Son, Barry? He makes a cameo in season 2.
The Good Son? That's your reference point for Macaulay Culkin?
You could have just said Home Alone, Bovon.
Home Alone's not as funny. Oh! I haven't laughed this hard since we reviewed The Deer Hunter.
Ah, sweet sundown in Christ. Yeah, so this time we're gonna give our proverbial flowers to one of our favorite characters from the Fallout show.
We gonna cover my boy Kumail Nanjiani?
Hey, Maximus, can we just be hard-kicked for a second?
Ah, shut up. This the character's too one-sided for this kind of video. Now, it's our opinion that one of the show's major successes is how it invests secondary characters with a great deal of intention and interest. We've already demonstrated how this plays out with such characters as Thaddeus and Chicken Fire. So now we're gonna explore a few of the Vaulties, but we're mostly gonna talk about big, dumb Chet.
Well, Barry, if you're gonna cover Chet, you gotta also talk about Steph Harper. I mean, she is missing an eye, Barry, and most of the women you've slept with are missing teeth, ears, noses.
Not to mention self-respect.
Oh! No one wants that dong.
Oh.
Yeah. Steph Harper is played by Annabelle O'Hagan, and we can all agree that, well, she really rocks my hammock.
Bro, she's also terrifying.
Are we having an argument?
Yeah, which brings us to her husband-to-be, Chet. He's probably my favorite Vaultie, and he's played to perfection by this guy, Dave Register. Now, I had never heard of this actor before. He's a real handsome Sam, and though I normally hate that type, I guess I'm willing to make an exception.
Well, I guess we finally agree on something, Barry.
Ah, piss off, Bovon. You only like Chet because he fooled around with his cousin.
Lucy, I love you.
Listen, there are plenty of reasons to appreciate Chet. Just about all of his scenes are bursting with comedy and pathos. For instance, in season 1, after Steph's husband Bert gets deleted by some raiders, a very preggo Steph decides she don't want to raise the baby alone, which leads us to this goddamn hilarity.
Now that is one wet lady.
Well, do we have any evidence that those two ever peel off them jumpsuits and go full summer sausage?
We do not. Chet and his immaculate haircut get relegated to the role of babysitter, and Dave Register absolutely nails the role, instilling Chet with a kind of mopey stoicism. You can sense the despair, the loss of agency, the understanding that this man has become a bystander to his own enshittified existence.
Yo, our boy is dead-ass locked in a loveless and ersatz facsimile of a relationship. We all know it can only end in blood.
Yeah, you're starting to understand.
Ah, poor hapless son of a bitch. Best part of his day is chomping into that dry-ass sandwich. And then it's back to his chamber to clear food buggers out of the drain.
We are all Chet. We carry the flame.
Yeah, and it's often the quiet, subtle little mannerisms that make the character work. For all intents and purposes, Chet has become a stay-at-home surrogate daddy. But just look at this small yet memorable moment where he puts a pair of knee-highs to the sniff test.
Yo, sis, I seen Barry do the same goddamn thing to your panties, girl.
See? I knew it!
Okay, Barry, you are starting to win me over. I think I like Chet almost as much as you like fried cheese sandwiches. Look how wigged out he is when he finds out Steph's been lying about her identity.
Yeah, that's right. Asswipe. Much like Ella Purnell, Big Dave Register does a good job of selling the idea that his character has lived a pathologically sheltered life and has dealt with pretty much no significant confrontation, which is why he comes off as a kind of foppish, overgrown child. And my theory is that Chet...
Cadbury!
Time to get paid!
Okay, my pretty ponies. Get your hormones under control because our good friends at Smegman's have just leveled up with a special product just for you sedentary chuds. Riddle me this. Do you blindly follow these health and wellness grifter dipshits who show up on your favorite podcast programs? I bet you do. If so, you've probably already heard of Cardiac Friends.
Cardiac Friends!
The wildly popular new longevity supplement. Aren't you plumb sick of watching those cholesterol numbers creep higher and higher every year, even though you follow a reasonable diet and engage in regular exercise? If so, you're probably an ideal candidate for Cardiac Friends. Each Cardiac Friends capsule contains a shitload of little bitty crustacean eggs. Now, once those babies have hatched deep inside your colon, they'll make a beeline for that fat heart of yours, where your new colony of Cardiac Friends will start to lovingly feast on arterial plaque. You know, all those gleets and glorps and scummy bits.
You got a shit heart!
Well, what happens if they run out of plaque?
Don't worry, jackass. Cardiac Friends are very resourceful. If they can't find enough plaque, they'll just make their way to the brain, which is roughly 60% fat.
But, how long do them things live?
What if you got a shellfish allergy?
Don't be a weepy little pussy wussy. Order Cardiac Friends today.
Do it!
You can eat as much pie as you goddamn please.
Oh, Jesus, grinder crashing Christ. Okay, the promo code is Heart Party.
Game on!
I think my favorite Chet moment from season 2 is when Steph doesn't even bother to tell him about their wedding. He got to hear about it from fucking Davey.
There's a poster?
And going back to our previous point about subtle mannerisms, just look how Chet winces just before he questions Steph about the wedding.
So I saw we're getting married tomorrow.
Yeah, that's pretty good, Barry. You can tell Chet's been rehearsing all of this in his handsome head, trying to work up the nerve.
Yeah, and there's more than one layer here. Because the whole time he's scrubbing dishes and absorbing disrespect, old Chet is building up his resentment.
Just like you, Barry.
Yes, just like me, Barry.
And that's part of why it makes sense for him to finally snap during the wedding.
She's Canadian.
Yes. But you'll notice that later on, when the rest of the Vaulties are baying for blood because they feel betrayed by management, old Chet appears dismayed.
That's to management! That's to management!
So you're saying despite his resentment, Chet still has some sympathy for Steph?
Yeah, we'll have to wait for season 3 to know for sure. In any case, this is pretty good character work. I just wish those asswipes who wrote Stranger Things had made just half an ass cheek of effort to...
Barry, we gonna ask Al to weigh in, or you still mad at him?
Ah, dirty Christ, here we go again!
Okay, lowlifes. Let's consider the curious case of Stephanie Harper, overseer of Vault 32. First off, one must resist the temptation to view her merely as duplicitous. What we are witnessing is not an excess of simple ambition, but a human subject formed under the most extreme conditions. The wide-eyed girl who fled the Uranium City internment camp, who watched her mother perish beneath American firepower, who was told to survive by any means necessary, did not learn trust. She learned strategy.
Hello? We're analyzing Chet, you galactic dickhead.
Oh, do piss off, Barry. I want to talk about Steph, and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop me. Anyway, Steph's counterfeit engagement to Chet is, from Steph's perspective, a sort of social armor. Marriage becomes insulation, an elegant shell to protect her from outside forces. Even motherhood bends beneath the radical gravity of control.
And I need someone to take care of the baby, and it's used to you.
When she peels an orange with a hunting knife and drives the blade into her desk to silence dissent, we see beyond the obvious threat display to a more fundamental truth. Here is a woman who refuses to relinquish authority ever again, because in her view, the consequences are simply too dire. Steph's struggle with Betty over water, the most primal of survival elements, reveals a similar psychological pattern. She recognizes that the so-called experiment is over, that no benevolent power structure will descend to restore balance to the American wasteland. She therefore plays the only game she still understands: leverage.
Yeah, well, what about the fact that somebody popped one of her eyeballs with a fork? Does that hold any significance?
In the context of myth, to lose an eye does not necessarily mean a loss of vision, but a shifting thereof. Consider Odin, who famously surrendered an eye for wisdom. But Stephanie Harper has not gained enlightenment from her sacrifice. Rather, her perspective has been symbolically narrowed. To live with one eye is to perceive depth imperfectly. This is the spiritual price we pay for having experienced trauma. Steph's vacant eye is the visible emblem of a psyche that has learned to focus intensely, strategically, while relinquishing peripheral trust. She embodies the damaged ego that has contracted in order to protect itself. Power to her becomes monocular, forward-facing, reactionary, calculating. Her tragedy is not villainy, but contraction. In securing survival, she tightens her grip so fiercely that survival becomes indistinguishable from domination. Okay, let's throw it back to Barry. Maybe he'll tell us about the time he stole some of Mark's gummies and got so high he ate an entire barrel of Amish-style cream cheese.
Nah, man, Barry wasn't high. Those were just regular gummies.
Shut up, smartasses. We all know trigger foods don't count. Okay. Any of you cretins have a prediction about what's gonna happen to Steph and Chet in season 3?
Well, Barry, the laws of storytelling dictate that somehow or other, Chet's gotta clear out of that vault. Yeah, he's been sheltered for far too long.
Yeah, not bad. And by refusing to marry Steph, he's proven that he's finally grown some semblance of a sack.
Yeah, that old boy is a physical specimen. I could see him becoming sort of activated by the wasteland, you know?
Yeah, maybe he ends up fighting against Steph or the Enclave or whatever.
Yeah, it does seem like his driving ambition is to know what's actually going on behind the scenes.
Yes, the truth, please.
Just like that other very handsome TV show, Positivist. As for Steph, Barry, the show seems to be telling us that the walls are literally closing in. She's madder than a caged moose at this point, and she'll likely be willing to engage in ultra-violence in order to avoid being deposed.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad, you shitasses. I think you're probably right, but then again, circumstances within the Fallout universe are seldom as simple as they appear. I could imagine a version of the story where Steph's character undergoes some kind of vaguely Christ-themed redemption arc.
Like the Ghoul.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch there, Kirk Cameron. Okay, lowlifes, that's all we got for now. Tune in next time. We might actually do a review of that movie The Good Son from 1993, but we're not sure. Remember to leave a complaint or a suggestion in the comment box. That way we know for sure who the dipshits are. Okay, Alice, get me out of here.
All of the doggies are in the corral.
Creedless shells of men tottering down the causeways like migrants in a feverland.
Measure the walls, count the ribs, notch the long days.
If the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use was the rule?